She sleeps 8 hours and still wakes up exhausted. If you're raising a teenage daughter, you may have seen this before. The alarm rings. She opens her eyes, but her body doesn't follow. She moves slowly. Her shoulders feel heavy. Her voice sounds flat. And somewhere in the back of your mind, a question begins to form. Is she just being lazy? It's an easy conclusion to make. She used to be energetic. She used to finish her homework without reminders. She used to run out the door in the morning. Now she looks tired, even after what seems like a full night of sleep. Before we label this as a motivation problem, I want to invite you to pause, because sometimes what looks like laziness is actually biology speaking quietly. Teenage girls go through profound physical changes. Their brains are still developing. Their hormones are shifting. Their bodies are building blood, bone, and neural connections at a remarkable speed. That kind of growth requires energy, real energy, not willpower. And when the body does not receive what it needs, fatigue becomes the first signal. Not drama, not rebellion, just fatigue. So before we correct behavior, before we push harder, before we assume attitude, let's ask a different question. What might her body be missing? Because understanding that question can change everything. Let me tell you about a girl I once met. She was 15, bright, curious, always the one raising her hand in class. But over a few months, something changed. Her teachers noticed first. She stopped volunteering answers. Her eyes looked heavy by mid-morning. She rested her head on her hand more often. At home, her mother began to see it too. Homework that once took an hour now stretched late into the evening. Not because she was distracted, but because she moved slowly. She said she was tired every single day. At first, everyone assumed it was normal teenage moodiness. Maybe she was staying up too late. Maybe she was just going through a phase. But then came the moment that made everyone pause. During a physical education class, she suddenly felt dizzy. She tried to keep running, tried to push through, but her vision blurred for a second. Her legs felt weak. She stumbled slightly, and a classmate reached out just in time to steady her. It wasn't a serious fall. No ambulance, no dramatic scene. But the look on her face afterward was something her mother couldn't forget. Embarrassment, confusion, a quiet fear. That afternoon, she whispered, "Maybe I'm just not strong enough." And that is the moment we need to pay attention. Because when a teenage girl begins to believe that her exhaustion is a character flaw, not a biological signal, something inside her starts to shrink. Her confidence, her voice, her willingness to try. Fatigue is not just about feeling sleepy. It can slowly reshape how a girl sees herself. And before we talk about motivation or discipline, we need to ask a much deeper question. What is happening inside her body? That small moment in the gym was not dramatic, but it was important because it showed something deeper. This was no longer just about feeling sleepy in class. Over the next few days, she noticed other things. She felt lightheaded when standing up too quickly. Her heart seemed to race after minor activity. Her hands felt colder than usual. She brushed it off at first. Teenagers are good at minimizing discomfort, but her body was trying to communicate. One morning, on the way to school, she felt that same wave of heaviness again. Not a full collapse, not an accident, just a brief moment where her focus drifted, and she had to steady herself. It startled her, and for the first time, she began to wonder if this wasn't about laziness at all. At school, her biology teacher happened to be covering a lesson about how the body produces energy, about oxygen, about iron, about how blood carries fuel to the brain. She listened differently that day when the teacher explained that low iron levels can reduce oxygen delivery to tissues, and that fatigue is often one of the earliest signs. Something clicked. This wasn't weakness. It might be physiology. Later that week, her mother decided to schedule a simple blood test, not out of panic, but out of curiosity. And the results revealed something common, yet often overlooked. Her ferritin levels were low, not dangerously low, but low enough to affect energy, low enough to explain the dizziness, low enough to change the entire conversation. Because once fatigue is understood as a biological signal, the blame disappears. And when blame disappears, solutions become possible. Let's pause here for a moment, because iron is one of the most overlooked nutrients in teenage girls. And yet, it plays a critical role in how the body creates energy. Iron is not just about preventing anemia. It is essential for carrying oxygen through the bloodstream. Every time your daughter takes a breath, oxygen enters her lungs. But without enough iron, that oxygen cannot efficiently travel to her muscles, her organs, and most importantly, her brain. When iron stores are low, even if hemoglobin levels still appear normal, the body begins to struggle quietly. Ferritin, which reflects iron storage, is often the first indicator to drop. And when ferritin is low, fatigue can appear long before anything looks alarming on the surface. This is why so many teenage girls are told they are fine, even when they feel exhausted. Their labs may fall within acceptable ranges, but acceptable does not always mean optimal. Adolescent girls are especially vulnerable. Monthly blood loss, rapid growth, increased academic demands, all of these require iron. And if diet does not keep up, energy begins to decline. The symptoms can be subtle at first: feeling tired despite sleeping, difficulty concentrating, shortness of breath during mild activity, pale skin, cold hands. None of these scream emergency, but together they paint a pattern. And once you understand that pattern, you begin to see fatigue differently. Not as laziness, not as lack of discipline, but as a body working harder than it should, with fewer resources than it needs. When we understand iron this way, we stop blaming behavior and we start investigating biology. And that shift changes everything. Iron is only part of the picture. Energy in a teenage girl's body depends on more than oxygen alone. It also depends on fuel. And that fuel comes largely from protein and stable blood sugar levels. Many teenage girls skip breakfast, or they grab something quick: a pastry, a sweet coffee, a piece of toast. It feels like energy at first, but within a couple of hours, blood sugar drops sharply. And when blood sugar crashes, the brain feels it immediately: difficulty concentrating, irritability, a sudden wave of fatigue. This is not emotional instability, it is chemistry. The brain requires a steady supply of glucose, but it also needs amino acids, which come from protein. Protein helps regulate blood sugar. It supports neurotransmitter production. It stabilizes mood and focus. Without enough protein in the morning, a teenage girl may begin her school day already running on borrowed energy. By mid-morning, she feels drained. By afternoon, she feels defeated. And again, this can be misunderstood as lack of effort, when in reality, her body is simply underfueled. Adolescence is a time of rapid brain development. Neural pathways are being strengthened. Emotional regulation systems are maturing. Cognitive demands are increasing. All of this requires consistent nutrition. Skipping protein, skipping balanced meals, living on sugar spikes. These patterns quietly erode energy, and over time, they shape how a girl sees herself. If I'm always tired, maybe I'm just not capable. But capability is not the issue. Supply is. When we look at fatigue through the lens of nourishment, we begin to see something empowering. Energy can be rebuilt, not with pressure, but with proper support. There is one more layer that many families overlook. Sleep in teenage girls does not function the same way it did in childhood. During puberty, the body's internal clock begins to shift. Melatonin, the hormone that signals sleep, is released later at night. This means a teenage girl may not feel naturally sleepy until 10 or even 11 o'clock, but school still starts early. So even if she goes to bed at a reasonable time, her body may not actually enter deep sleep right away. She lies there, restless, half awake. And when the alarm rings at 6, her brain is still in its biological night. This is not rebellion. It is circadian biology. Add academic pressure, add screen exposure at night, add emotional stress, and the nervous system remains stimulated longer than it should. Cortisol levels may stay elevated. The brain struggles to fully power down. Over time, this creates a pattern of partial sleep deprivation. Not dramatic, just chronic. And chronic sleep disruption affects everything: energy production, mood regulation, attention span, physical coordination. When iron is low, when protein is inconsistent, and when sleep timing is misaligned, fatigue becomes predictable, not mysterious, not personal. Predictable. A teenage girl navigating hormonal shifts is already managing a complex biological transition. If we layer nutritional gaps and circadian mismatch on top of that, exhaustion is not surprising. It is expected. And when we begin to understand how these systems interact, we move from frustration to clarity, from blame to strategy. There is another factor that quietly amplifies fatigue, and it is not always visible. Stress. Not dramatic stress, not trauma, but the steady, everyday pressure of being a teenage girl. Academic expectations, social comparison, unspoken competition. Even small emotional fluctuations require energy to process. When a teenage girl worries about grades, friendships, body image, or fitting in, her nervous system responds. Cortisol rises, adrenaline shifts. Her body prepares for challenge. In short bursts, this is healthy. But when that state becomes constant, the body never fully resets. Energy that should be used for growth, for learning, for repair, is redirected toward vigilance. This is subtle, no dramatic breakdown, just a background hum of tension. Over time, chronic low-level stress can disrupt sleep quality. It can increase inflammation. It can alter appetite signals. And when stress combines with low iron, inconsistent protein intake, and circadian misalignment, fatigue deepens. Not because she is weak, but because her system is overloaded. Teenage girls today navigate a complex world. They are expected to excel academically, stay socially connected, manage their appearance, plan their future, all while their brains are still developing. The prefrontal cortex, which governs decision-making and regulation, is not fully mature, yet we often expect adult resilience from an adolescent nervous system. When we understand this, fatigue begins to make sense, not as a flaw, but as feedback, a signal that her body and brain need support, not criticism. So what can we do when a teenage girl is constantly tired? Not panic, not criticize, but respond wisely. The first step is simple. Check her iron status properly, not just hemoglobin. Ask about ferritin. Ferritin reflects stored iron. And in many teenage girls, it is the quiet number that tells the real story. A basic blood test, guided by a healthcare professional, can provide clarity. The second step is rebuilding fuel. Look at breakfast first. Does it contain protein, eggs, Greek yogurt, nuts, lean meats, protein-rich smoothies? When protein is present in the morning, blood sugar stabilizes. The brain receives steady energy. Mood becomes more predictable. Energy becomes more sustainable. The third step is aligning sleep with biology. Teenagers naturally shift later, and so, instead of demanding a dramatic early bedtime, consider gradual adjustments. Reduce screen exposure at least 30 minutes before sleep. Dim lights in the evening. Encourage consistency, even on weekends. Small shifts create cumulative results. And, perhaps most importantly, change the tone at home. Instead of saying, "You need to try harder," try asking, "How are you feeling lately?" Fatigue is easier to address when a girl feels safe being honest about it. When nutrition improves, when sleep stabilizes, when iron levels recover, energy often returns, not overnight, but steadily. And as energy returns, confidence follows. Because sometimes the most powerful intervention is not pressure, it is informed support. If there is one message I hope you carry with you, it is this: fatigue is information. It is not a personality trait. When a teenage girl looks tired, moves slowly, or struggles to focus, it does not automatically mean she lacks discipline. It may mean her body is asking for support. Adolescence is a season of rapid construction. Bones lengthen, blood volume increases, hormones fluctuate, neural pathways strengthen. All of this happens quietly. We see the mood changes. We see the messy room. We see the unfinished homework. But we do not always see the biological work happening beneath the surface. When we shift from blame to curiosity, everything changes. Instead of asking, "Why aren't you trying harder?" we begin asking, "What might your body need?" That question opens doors. It opens conversations. It opens solutions. A teenage girl who feels understood is more likely to speak honestly, more likely to accept guidance, more likely to rebuild confidence when her energy improves. And when energy improves, so does resilience, so does motivation, so does joy. If you are raising a daughter in this complex world, remember this: support is stronger than pressure. Education is stronger than assumption. And biology is often stronger than willpower. Before you call her lazy, pause. Look deeper. Because sometimes what looks like weakness is simply a body working very hard with too little support. And once we understand that, we can become the steady presence she needs. Not to push her, but to strengthen her.